Welcome back folks, and welcome back to a new video. So today we're going to cover CD Projekt Group fiscal year 2025. We're going to be going into all of the details they have shared so far. Do keep in mind that as expected we haven't gotten any information for the rumored Witcher 3 DLC / expansion, and honestly if that does happen it's not going to happen anytime soon, but of course we're just going to have to wait and see if they are going to confirm or deny it, but so far they have been very quiet. But in any case there is a lot to talk about, so let's go through it all. First of all, when it comes to their project updates, The Witcher 4 is continuing with the production. They're going full steam ahead. Now later on in the developer breakdown we're going to see that the number of developers actually grew by quite a lot. So as far as The Witcher 4 is concerned, currently that is the biggest project within the company itself. When is it coming out? I think at best we're gonna maybe see it in 2028. Of course, I'm a bit pessimistic on when exactly. Some people say 2027. I mean, a lot of that depends on the future updates, especially when it comes to the Summer Game Fest, Gamescom, or ultimately the Game Awards by the end of the year, because I'm sort of thinking that maybe there is a chance they're going to be present on the Summer Game Fest, where we're going to see more of the Witcher 4 itself. Now, big news for Cyberpunk 2, because Cyberpunk 2 has officially entered the pre-production phase. Now, the Vancouver and Boston studio have been sort of, getting set up already, and majority of the biggest things and biggest hurdles which they needed to go, because whenever you open up new studios, especially in a different country, it takes a while for everything to start moving. So yes, Cyberpunk 2 has moved from the conceptual phase into the pre-production itself. So honestly, I cannot wait to see what they have in store for us when it comes to Cyberpunk 2 and in what year that is going to be set, because that is going to tell us a lot about, well, especially Night City and also this new city which has been talked about quite a while ago, when Mike Pondsmith actually said that he saw one of the developers talk about this new city we're going to visit within that game, but besides that we haven't really gotten that much information about it. Project Hadar, which is also going to be the new in-house IP from CD Projekt, has actually entered conceptual phase. So the initial phase, which they were actually setting everything up within that IP, has been finished, and now it's going into conceptual phase. Why is this important? Well, because I think finally, or well, not that soon enough, but we're getting to it. We're finally going to find out what Project Hadar is going to be in the first place, because we have no idea in what genre or what way this game is going to be set up. Honestly, one of the things which I do want CDPR see exploring is maybe something like a space opera, who knows, because with The Witcher they sort of covered that medieval fantastical world. With Cyberpunk, they have, well, cyberpunk and sort of that sci-fi, but again, what Hadar is going to be, we have no clue whatsoever, but we're definitely getting closer to finding out as well. They also mentioned Cyberpunk Edgerunners 2, and that is going to launch on Netflix, but they haven't shared any additional information about it so far. Honestly, I sort of expect that information by the end of the year, because even though they're working again with Studio Trigger, it is still very much early to talk about what is going to be, and especially when it comes to the full teaser trailer or something in relation to it. As far as the sales go, Cyberpunk 2077 has sold over 35 million copies, with Phantom Liberty crossing over 10 million copies, but this is something we have previously reported on, so they pretty much reiterated that information. Now, The Witcher 3 has also sold over 60 million copies, which is a huge number for that game, and we can see that both Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3 are going very strong, especially when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077, because it did release on Nintendo Switch 2 and also on Mac devices, which was actually driving those sales. When it comes to revenue, in the fiscal year of 2025 they have made 867 million Polish zloty, which is approximately 233 million US dollars, with the net profit of the continued operations going to 521 million PLN, which is approximately 140 million And interestingly enough, with the sale of GOG, their earnings have increased by 74 million PLN, which is approximately 19, basically 20 million US dollars. So that's sort of the price which was set on that, and that's actually what they were reporting on. This also marks their second best year in company's history after Cyberpunk 2077 launch year. And I think this is very important because, well, with the Cyberpunk 2077, release year, they have been selling a lot of that game. And most importantly, because Cyberpunk 2077 has been receiving all of those updates along with Cyberpunk 2.0 and everything else, it is sort of expected that these sales are going to continue, or well, did continue ever since the release and now entering in the fiscal year of 2025. So when it comes to their statement, they said that this has been an amazing year for CD Projekt and just in general the entire company, because as it's been said by Piotr Nielubowicz, who is the CD Projekt's chief financial officer, he said this: 2025 was a time of intensive work on our ongoing projects, but also a period during which our previous releases demonstrated unwavering strength. So yes, their sales, again, as I said, even though they haven't really released anything in a while besides, the Nintendo Switch 2 version of the game and the Mac version of Cyberpunk 2077, but even without new titles, the sales are continuing very strong. Also, if you do count in the entire Witcher trilogy, they have sold over 85 million copies. Also this year they have released The Witcher 3 Complete Edition and Cyberpunk 2077 on Xbox Game Pass, so if you do have it, this is actually an additional way for you to play both of these games. Now, even though they initially said that they're not gonna be coming, I think after the majority of sales has passed, I think because they have such a really good partnership with Xbox in general, I was sort of expecting this to happen, and it did, so both of those games are now on the Xbox Game Pass. And this is interesting because all of the recent activities in the Witcher franchise have also resulted in more of these sales, and this is actually their flywheel of the IP which they have mentioned. So they have the games, right? They have the Witcher concert, they have additional games like having, for example, partnerships with Epic, with, skins in Fortnite, which is Cyberpunk 2077 related, but still, even in The Witcher, they have Reigns The Witcher, they have the collaboration with Dead by Daylight, they have additional collaborations alongside the merch which they have been selling. So that's sort of something that you can expect in the future with Cyberpunk 2, with The Witcher 4, and also Project Hadar. So whatever that project is, it has to be something which can be interesting in the pop culture itself. Basically, it has to be done in a way so you can franchise it even more. Also, as you probably heard by now, in 2026, Cyberpunk 2077 will be receiving the PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced update. Keep in mind that they have again said that this is a technical update, so there isn't going to be any content whatsoever, like new content within that technical update. The reason why this is going to be coming out is to take the full advantage of that new hardware, and basically if you do have PlayStation 5 Pro, the update is going to be free, and good thing is you're going to experience Night City in even more detail. Honestly, I'm very excited about Project Hadar. Now, we haven't heard anything about Project Sirius, but we can look at the development teams who are engaged in ongoing projects. So right now they have 933 developers alongside every single project which they have. So on the Witcher 4 there actually are 499 developers, which is a huge increase from February 28th and October 31st, 2025. So you can see that is their biggest project. Cyberpunk 2 has jumped into 149, which is quite a lot if you think about that. They're actually now entering pre-production, so they definitely do want Cyberpunk 2 to be something special. But interestingly enough, Project Sirius, which has been previously like Molasses Flood project, which Cdpr acquired, well, Molasses Flood has been sort of disintegrated and completely integrated into CD Projekt. So this project has now 71 developers. So yes, the Project Sirius, which is going to be well, as much as we know, a multiplayer Witcher project of some sort is increasing in production a lot. Now, Hadar is now down to 26 developers, which is sort of expected because the initial phase is done, and because they're entering conceptual phase, like, you don't really need a lot of people for it. And the shared services, which is basically the localizations, central quality assurance, data, insight, experiences, and motion capture, has increased to 169. And also for the other projects, like we don't know what, we have 19 developers. Also, there is a statement from Mikhail Novakovsky, who is the joint CEO with Adam Badovsky at CD Projekt, and he said this: over the past year, more than 220 developers have joined our teams. Most of new hires are working on The Witcher 4, where they help us to improve quality and scale up solutions presented in the Unreal Tech demo, which actually goes across the entire game. So this is also very good to hear. So in a nutshell, as I said, this has been an amazing year for CD Projekt, especially because we are now just gearing up for everything Witcher 4 related. And if we do truly see that Witcher 3 DLC / expansion rumor, whatever it is, I think that is going to be fantastic. But as much as, you know, some people expected this to happen prior to this, you know, financial results, I said that there isn't really a chance of that happening, because if it did, we would already hear about it, which, you know, actually happened here. And one last thing which I do want to share are actually sales revenue by hardware platform for both Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3. So we can see that Cyberpunk 2077 and Phantom Liberty have been selling the most on PC, with PlayStation being the, well, best for the console itself, Xbox following shortly. Now, also we can see that in 2025, 10% of those sales has also been on Nintendo Switch, which is very interesting to see. But when it comes to The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, we can see that obviously as they have been adding, you know, Nintendo Switch to it, there have been some very strong sales. So no wonder, because I mean, we can see like in 2019 19%, 2020 was 28%, which is sort of expected because, you know, that year everybody was inside in their homes playing games and all of that. But even in 2024 and 2025, we can see that those sales have been quite strong, obviously with PC leading with the number of sales, PlayStation being the best console, and also, interestingly enough, Xbox and Nintendo Switch have been tied. And that's pretty much everything we have for today when it comes to the fiscal year of 2025 for CD Projekt. If something more does come out, I will of course talk about it, but for the time being, this is everything. You can of course tell me down below what do you think about this, and as always, all of these sources are going to be down below in the description, so you can see it for yourself and go into even more detail, because, well, there is some stuff here which is mostly related to like really financial stuff, which I mean is mostly interested for people who have been investing or maybe do want to invest in this company. So if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button for more. Check us out on Twitter and Discord, where I do share more details about everything here, and we go into more discussions about what is happening within this company. And huge thanks to my Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye bye.